I'm going to go ahead and start recording this, and I'm going to also put us live on Facebook, but we're going to be live just on our Facebook page, so it won't be live on the world Facebook, just ours. So okay, so label reading. There's so much to know about label reading, and one of the things about label reading that's so frustrating is there's so many confusing factors to it, and it's not just what you see. And the one thing that I find most frustrating since I became a nutritionist is that I really believe that there is this hidden agenda by the marketing um, agents and the food manufacturers to confuse people. I actually have like this hidden desire to be this like nutritional marketing debunker. I think that somewhere in my retirement, I want to be this person that goes around and debunks nutritional marketing food agents, because that is, I think, the biggest contributing factor, or I shouldn't say the biggest, but a large contributing factor to why people um, can't lose weight and yet don't understand why they can't lose weight. And the odds are against you because you are trusting the media, you are trusting commercials, you're trusting advertisements, and then you're trusting what you hear people talk about at the gym, on social media, and you're feeding into this frenzy of what marketing agents want you to believe. And there is millions and millions and millions of dollars that goes into research, and the research of the psychology of how we interpret things, that get us to buy things believing that they are healthy and they're not. And that is the most frustrating thing ever. And so I have my guard up all the time. My husband laughs because one of the worst stores to shop at, and I'm really sorry to tell you guys this, is Trader Joe's. Um, and it's not that it's a terrible store. It's just Trader Joe's has a lot of products that are labeled in a way that can be very confusing to the consumer. And so you have to have your eyes peeled for that at all times. And it's not just Trader Joe's, but I think people go to Trader Joe's assuming that it is all healthy because it's at Trader Joe's, and that is less than what you're getting. So you have to be careful. I hear it all the time. Well, I got it at Trader Joe's. And I want to say, well, what is that? What does that mean? You know, look at the nutritional label, let's break it down. And 9 times out of 10, just because it's at Trader Joe's does not mean that it is healthy. And so you have to be very, very careful. So I wanted to do a presentation on this. I've actually done some public speaking on this because it is a valid and important topic, not only because of how you're getting sideswiped, but also because of how you are spending money or how you think you're saving money on a product, but really you're not getting the best value because of the way that things are mislabeled, and the buzzwords that are being used. And this all follows trends that follow what the diet trends are. So whatever the diet trends are is what the manufacturers use, and companies, big major companies, will research down to the science of what people like, to nail it down, to get people to buy their product. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen here and kind of go through my presentation here. Just verifying everyone can see this screen here with the Get You Fit reading nutritional labels. Okay, so first thing, there are requirements on nutritional labels. This is something that has been passed in the legislation, and there are requirements that have to appear on labels. One of them is the serving size. The other one is the calories per container. And those are the things that we usually look at: serving size, calories per container. The other thing that needs to be on there are the fats, the cholesterol, the sodium, the total carbohydrates. Down here, breaking it down, the next factor that has to be on there is the total fiber and, I'm sorry, total carbohydrate and the dietary fiber. And then the fifth thing that has to legally be on a nutritional label are the ingredients. What people look at the grocery store, the number one thing that people look at is right here, the calories. And if you think about you going to the grocery store, and I'm guilty of it too, I pick up a label and the first thing I look at is the calories. Now I'll admit, over the years, I now look at the calories and I look at the servings to see, all right, how much of this do I get to eat? But generally, people will just look at the calories and not pay attention to the serving size. So it is really important that you do pay attention to the serving size. So what I want you to look at here is on this particular label, 230 calories looks like a great deal, but when you look at the serving size being only 2/3 of a cup, that is minuscule. So depending on what this is, that is not that much. And if you really do weigh it and you put it on the food scale, the really true way to measure the amount that you're getting is to put this product on the food scale. And if you could see here, it says 55 grams. That is the true way to measure this product. So if this product was Lucky Charms cereal, let's just say, for example, I could take my serving, my measuring cup, and I can measure 2/3 of a cup. But we all know that the cereal is not flat. It's not something that I could pack down. So my 2/3 of a cup could fall anywhere between 3/4 of a cup, 2/3 of a cup, and a cup. The only real true way to know what I'm getting is to take that cereal and put it on a food scale and get the 55 grams. Every single product out there next to the serving size is going to have a gram next to it. And one thing that will shock you is if you take your protein powder and you dig out the scoop of your protein powder, and it says flat on there, 1 scoop of protein powder is 150 calories. And you take out 1 scoop of protein powder and you put 1 scoop of protein powder on the food scale, I guarantee you that your scoop is going to be more in grams than what it says on your container. So you're actually consuming more than you think you are, which is going to contribute to an inaccurate caloric amount. Does that make sense? Okay. I'm going to actually do a little experiment with that and show you guys today by taking protein powder and showing you a live demonstration of what I'm talking about. One thing that came up recently is protein powders sometimes will have 2 scoops will equal 1 serving, and sometimes 1 scoop will equal 1 serving. So that's where you have to really zone in and look at the actual amount in grams, so that you can make sure that you're getting the exact amount. So always pay attention to the grams. Okay. All right. So next, any questions on this? All right. Next thing. Misleading information. We see what we want to see. This is a normal thing in anything. When we are shopping, our minds are focused on what we want to see. 1 second. Can you bring me the protein powder jug and the food scale? Food scale. And a cup. Thank you. Okay. Our brains want to see what we want to see. So when we want to see a lower caloric amount, we are focused on that. When we want to see a product that we are really interested in eating, our brains are going to zone into certain words that we're interested in. And manufacturers are going to highlight these words and they're going to make them really big and bold because that is the first thing we are going to see. They're aware of distractions at the grocery store. They're aware of you being under a time crunch when you're grocery shopping. They're aware of all of these things. And so they bold things that you are going to zone in on, and your brain is only going to see those things. So you have to be very aware of them. And I have become hypersensitive to that. So when I see a label that says sugar free, I actually look at that as a flag that there might be. Is there something else I can help with? My watch is interrupting us quite a bit today. I actually look at that as a flag in that there might be some false advertisement there. Thank you. Or you just sit on the floor. All right, so food companies know this. And what they do is they follow diet trends. So when keto is a hot trending diet, which it is now, they take their food and their labeling and they splatter low carb all over everything. Back in the late 90s, everything was labeled low fat. And that is why I overindulged in every possible low fat item that there was. Snackwells was the thing back then. Now you very rarely see low fat. You do see it, but you see low carb everywhere. That's because keto is trending right now. And they take what is trending and that is where they develop these buzzwords. These words are everywhere and we all fall for it. Immune support, no nitrate, made with real fruit, heart healthy, made with real honey, 100% natural, no high fructose corn syrup, made with organic wheat, fat-free, sugar-free. When you see these labels, of course, they're trying to get you to grab that product. And I'm not saying that that is a bad thing, but be warned, because just because these labels are on there does not mean that they are healthy. First things first, made with real fruit. This label could be on anything that contains at least 10% fruit. So that means nothing. Heart healthy, this label could be on anything at all that has less than 20% fat. So that product could be loaded in sugar. So, it's very, very ambiguous. Made with real honey. Honey is an extremely high form of sugar. And if you eat anything that is loaded in honey, that is going to metabolize and turn to fat. So, these are all appealing to the eye, but they're not healthy. So you have to be really, really careful when you see these buzzwords. Questions so far? One time I was at Trader Joe's and there's this woman sitting there before, COVID, when there were little areas to sit and eat. And she was eating this Greek yogurt with the fruit on the bottom, which we all know has more sugar in it than ice cream. And I literally wanted to go up to her and be like, man, did you know that what you're eating is worse than eating ice cream? And I mentioned it to my husband, and I literally, I would never have gone up to her, but I almost have to get pulled out of grocery stores sometimes because I get so angry. Here, this woman was thinking she was doing right. And granted, it's better than eating a candy bar. However, is it? Because now she's eating something that's got 25 grams of sugar that's going to spike her insulin levels, that's going to later cause her to want to eat sugar, and then the spiral downfall occurs. All right, so what about convenient foods? Why am I so anti-protein bars? Well, first off, years ago, back in I think 2009, it was right after I had my daughter. One of my clients, this is when I was a personal trainer, brought me this bag of like a gift bag full of every possible protein bar there was. I think she might have worked for a company that sold them, and it was awesome. I was like, oh, this is great. I have a brand new baby, four kids total. I was working at a gym full time and just no time to cook. So I lived on these bars. I mean, I would have them for breakfast, I would have them for lunch. Suddenly, my weight crept up. I could not figure out why. The calories were spot on. The protein was, why did my weight creep up? So I started thinking about this, and I just pulled them out of my diet because I figured it had to be the bars. So later on, once I got my nutritional certifications, I started doing these programs with people, and every once in a while I would have somebody that would get hooked on these protein bars. And there's so many out there. And I would notice that there would be weight stalls in people that would eat them regularly, because anybody that's gotten into the habit of eating them, it's a habit that's hard to break. It's so easy. You don't learn how to prepare your own snacks, so you get stuck on just buying these bars and eating these bars, and they're delicious. And I noticed these weight stalls, so I started doing some research. Well, um, and those of you that listen to my podcast have heard this. Last year in 2019, over $2 billion, $2 billion in protein bar convenience foods were sold. $2 billion. And of that $2 billion, 90% of those bars contain more sugar than a candy bar. And so I did some research and I looked up the common ones. Everybody knows what a Lair bar is. Everybody knows what Cliff Bar is. And I didn't want to spend all my time today looking up bars because I think you get the gist of it, but do it yourself and see. 220 for a Lair bar. That's what we looked at. That's all we look at, 220 for a Lair bar. What I wasn't looking at is 18 grams of sugar. 280 for a Cliff Bar and 21 grams of protein. That's all I was looking at. I wasn't looking at the 21 grams of sugar. Going over here to my favorite candy bar in the whole world that I would eat before running a marathon for energy, 251, but 24 grams of sugar. Now granted, I know that the protein levels are higher here, although they're not here. This is really parallel. This has 7 and this has 4. However, I can tell you that there are a lot better places to get protein than a bar. And the other thing that happens when we eat these bars is we don't ever learn the habits that we need to learn to make the snack. And I hear repeatedly, time and time again, how much you guys love the the snacks that are on your plans, because you were forced to have to construct them, and you were forced to have to learn how to package them and carry them around with you. These bars teach you nothing. These bars also don't have the healthy fats that are needed. And what is worse about these bars is the laundry list of ingredients and preservatives that are pinned along with them. And I'll get to that in a minute. Questions about bars and sugars and hidden dangers that I haven't talked about, or that I've talked about so far. Anybody?
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
What about like the balance bars where they have it where it's like a 30-30-40 formula? So it balances the sugar?
Yeah, I'll have to look at that, but probably the sugar, probably the sugar is still too high. And the ingredients, because like the Quest bar, I was eating Quest bars for years because the Quest has low sugar, the net carbs are only 3. But if you look at the ingredients, it's all chemicals, and I'll get to that when I get to the ingredient list. And I'm certain that the Zone and the balance bars have an issue with the ingredients, and I'll get to that next. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, how much food is in your canned food? Now, somebody brought this up on Facebook last week, which is what prompted this whole idea of me doing this Zoom. Somebody weighed their canned chicken, I think. Anybody that's here tonight do it? Was anybody? I don't remember who did it, but anyways, she weighed her canned chicken and she noticed that the can said 10 ounces, but the weight was only like 5. And so I thought, oh my gosh, I've never addressed this. And so it's a really interesting topic, and it's something that I actually don't pay a lot of attention to just because I know the answer, but it's not something I've ever addressed with you guys. So how much food is actually in your can? Well, there's a difference. There's net weight versus drained weight. And again, this is where you get in trouble with marketing. In this case, marketing agents and grocery stores aren't trying to get people to buy things thinking that they're healthy. They're trying to get people to buy less and spend more. So this is where really smart shoppers are being outsmarted, because there's these tiny little numbers that most people probably have never paid attention to. And these are the numbers that display actually how much food you get. I'm sure you guys are all aware of, the bag of chips that you open up and there's like nothing in there. That is what you're getting there is the true weight of the chip, because air doesn't weigh anything. But in this case, when you're getting a canned good, water does have density, it weighs. So when you look at this, 420 grams of net weight means that is what you are getting with the water. Now, more than likely, you're not going to ever consume what's in the can with the water. I can't think of many canned products where you're going to actually consume the water. And so this is going to show you what you're getting total weight. If you look at the back, some companies, not all, are going to tell you how much of the product is water. And as you can see here on this corn label, 58% of the product is water. So what you're getting in this can of corn is half water, half corn. So if you have 2 cans of corn side by side and they're each $1, and this one is 58% water and this one is 78% water, you're going to want to buy the one that has less water because you're getting more corn for your money. And that creates a whole nother shopping nightmare, but you can get really good at paying attention to those things. And once you kind of create your mindset and your rubric on shopping, it will get a little easier. So total weight includes everything, and so do the calories. So that water that it's sitting in is not calorie free. A lot of times the water has syrup, especially if it's a fruit. In this case, the sweet corn is sitting in a water with salt. So you are consuming what's on the ingredients in sodium is including that salted water. So if you want to drive your sodium level down, you could easily rinse that corn, and then your sodium level will be lower. If you're going to ask me, what is your sodium level then? There's no way for me to answer that. You just will know that it is much lower. You could spring for a little bit more of an expensive canned good, and you'll notice that there's less water. I think you guys all know, like the Del Monte brands, sometimes you open them up and there's like virtually no water in there. Then you're going to know exactly what you're getting. So you're going to notice that the more generic brands are going to have more water, more sodium, more fillers. Okay. So yeah, you can't just bank on what is in the can. So total weight includes everything, and so do the calories. Questions? All right, so full disclosure, there are some canned goods that do give you nutritional information when drained. So what you got to do is next time you go grocery shopping, keep your eyes peeled for that. Because if you happen to find one that has nutritional information when drained, then that is a canned good that is not trying to pull the wool over your eyes. I will tell you that this is not going to be an inexpensive item, but it might be worth the extra few cents because you know what you're getting, and you're probably getting more product for the money. Those of you that like tuna, when you buy the Ziploc, the little pouches, there's no water in there. Those are a little bit more costly, but you're getting all product. There's nothing to drain because everything that's in there is consumable. Okay.
Irene,
Yeah.
this is Mayuri. So on the canned goods with black beans, for example, black beans always says half a cup of serving, and I forget the grams that it comes with, but let's say it's 50 grams. And when you rinse out everything from the can, and you just now had the black beans left, and you weigh that 50 gram, is that the same what's on the label? If you don't measure it by half a cup, because now you just got rid of all the water that was in the can. Is that the same thing when you do it by the grams?
I almost understood you. Say that again.
Okay. So let's say you have
Yes.
beans,
Black
right?
beans. Yes.
And instead of measuring by half a cup, which is what it says on the label before you drain it,
Yes.
you now drain it and then you measure it by the grams that says on the label. Is that still the same thing, or is it saying that that 50 gram also included the water?
It included the water.
Okay.
So in that case, what I would do is go on FitnessPal or Google drained black beans.
Okay.
Which is almost a sad thing because it almost makes you feel like all this time you've been doing it wrong. But this is why I built in that 200 calorie buffer, because inevitably, we knew that this was, at least I knew that there was going to be this differential involved, because there's no way to precisely calculate everything. But yeah, that's a really good point because you're draining it and you're rinsing away, especially something like black beans because it's so thick and sitting in there. But yep, absolutely.
Cool.
So the bonus on that is that you're calculating more. You're calculating it on the higher end. So that part's good.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so here's the tuna example. Look at the tuna example here. So there are 4 different brands here. They were labeled tuna percentages, 74% in water was Woolworth's brand. Kohl's brand was 70. Aldi brand was 74. John West brand was 65, and Green Seas was 65. This was the dollar price per 100 grams. And this is the cheapest per net. So I know this seems like a confusing comparison, but if you look at once they're drained, the cheapest drained is not the cheapest net. So once you drain it, what is the cheapest is it, the comparisons are not the same, especially in this one here. So you have to be kind of careful, especially with tuna. And I've noticed that because I am an Aldi shopper, and I've noticed that the Aldi tuna has a lot of moisture in it. And I really drain my tuna. And there's times where I'll need 2 cans of Aldi tuna to equal 1 can of Sunkist. So, and I've never actually weighed it. So I that would be an interesting thing to compare. So. All right, so what is the average food to water ratio? So when you are out shopping, 50 to 75% is the average food to water ratio. If you see a water ratio that is higher than this, then, if it's 90% water, then you're getting ripped off. All right, so 50 to 75% is average. And there are reasons to have it be in water. It is for preservation reasons, but 50 to 75% is a really good ratio for you to be in. I know you guys are going to be all scoping everything out next time you're at the grocery store, as if it doesn't take long enough to shop. All right, so get you fit tips, shop with success. Bottom line. Identify, oh, there's a slide missing here. Oh, I know I had it in here. Shoot. Okay, there's a slide missing here, and it's too late for me to dig it up right now. When I was doing the protein powders, there are 70 different names for sugar. There are 70 different, let me just check it out here. I must have deleted it. Okay, there are 70 different names for sugar. So when you are out shopping and you're looking at a label, you need to zone in on, look at all these little blurbs for sugar, molasses, honey, sugar, syrup. But what I had put up here, there was a slide that there are 70 different names for sugar that look nothing like the word sugar. And so of the 600,000 average products that are at an average grocery store, 80% of them are mislabeled in a way to confuse you. And most of them are over amplified with sugar. Sugar is the most addictive product that's out there. And we are just living our lives, but we eat something and we don't even know it has sugar in it, like the protein bars. And it releases a neurotransmitter in our brain right here called dopamine. And it is the same neurotransmitter that is released. It's the pleasure hormone. It is the same one that is released that drug addicts become addicted to when they can't stop their addiction. It is 6 times more addictive than cocaine. And so when we have sugar, we want more sugar. And those of us that eat sugar can't stop eating it because we want more, and it becomes more and more addictive. And so when you are shopping, and especially a bar, like a protein bar, a Quest bar, or a Balance bar, when you see an ingredient label and it looks like this, that right there, I caution you, because this has a lot of ingredients. And when you see this, you don't know what all of these things are. And these are the reasons why I believe there are people that are suffering from autoimmune diseases, cancers, and all sorts of other weight loss deficiency issues that we just can't, we have no idea how to solve. They're basically, it's the chemical storm. So the limiting these things is going to help. Having them every once in a while, we all do. It's impossible not to. But when you get into eating a product day in and day out, multiple times a day, like a protein bar, you're really flooding your system with a ton of ingredients, and you have no idea what you're eating. So understand the labels, read the labels, watch for buzzwords, and the bottom line is eat whole foods. I'm not talking about organic. I'm not talking about go to Whole Foods and spend an arm and a leg on overpriced foods. I'm talking about eat whole foods. Your diets that I've created for you, those are whole foods. You have eggs, you have vegetables, you have lean proteins, you have healthy fats, you have complex carbs. These are all things that are considered whole foods. So when you shop the perimeter of your grocery store, and I know that includes the wine section, those are considered the whole foods. And the diets that I have you on are all prime examples of just that. So questions or comments?
One question then. So I do try to look at ingredient labels, and you even on the Lara bar, I mean, most of them have less than 5 ingredients on them. And I don't want to be addicted to protein bars. I will say a couple times, maybe 3 times a week, if I'm crazy busy at work, I'll grab one because I don't have the time to go downstairs and meal prep or have something with me at that time. Would you say just don't even entertain a Lara bar? Because most of them are like dates.
Well, the Lara
apple.
bar only has 5 ingredients. So that one is not, that one doesn't contradict the ingredient issue, but that one is really high in sugar. Now, you are an exception. Brenda is an athlete, and she is a ultra marathon runner, and she, you are an exception to this because you do burn an ungodly amount of calories. But when I'm training and when I'm running, and this Lara bars are packed in my running vest, that's what I live on. But if you are trying to lose weight, that is the last thing you should eat because of the sugar. Because of the sugar. For you, again, you're an exception. And anybody that is at their weight loss goal, if you're looking for a snack, I would put a Lara bar equivalent to a fruit. You're eating dates and you're eating nuts. But for weight loss, they're really high in sugar.
So some of my go-to snacks then, I've been trying to do just almonds. Because a lot of like the dairy-free cheeses are just loaded with oils.
Yeah.
So is that okay just to grab, instead of grabbing the 15 almonds, I could up my almonds as a snack to fill me up?
Well, let's you and I talk about this maybe after, because you're also plant-based. So you can't, even doing eggs, I would do, you want to have more of a protein too. So I would do almonds with like a hard-boiled egg.
Okay, I could do that.
Yeah, but for sure, let's connect too, because I know you also just started.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so food scale. I'm going to drop my camera down here so you guys could see here if this will work. And all right. There we go. Okay, my numbers are all going to be backwards, so maybe it won't. All right, maybe it will. All right, so here we go. My protein powder here says 1 scoop in this protein powder is 2 scoops is 35 grams. Okay, so I'm going to put this on here. I'm gonna tear it out. There's one. Not too bad, 40. So this isn't that horrible, but that is the true way to, to measure it. So on the back here, everything's backwards, but on the back here, you could see the grams. So this would be the true way to actually measure it. Now, if you're somebody that's making their protein shake and you're in a big rush and you do one of these, you know, that's going to add up time after time. You know, 2 scoops of this every day. Well, now you're not getting 130 grams each time. You're 130 calories. You're getting, you know, more like, I don't know, 100 and, I don't know. I mean, it's a minuscule difference, but it could eventually add up, especially if you're doing that with peanut butter. That is the one that has done damage over the years with peanut butter. All right, you guys, any questions? You guys are gonna all rip into your pantries and see what the percentages of water is to everything? Yeah, I know when I learned about this, the first trip to the grocery store was a really long one, so. All right, you guys, well, thank you for joining. I hope you learned a lot. And you guys should have all gotten your meal plans today. So if you didn't for some reason, check your spam and your promotions. And one thing I didn't realize, and I put this all out for the new people joining in January. If you make me a contact in your mail, So open up my mail, click Get You Fit, Irene, Get You Fit, and then add contacts as your mail. My stuff won't go into your junk folder anymore. So who knew? So, all right, you guys.
Quick question, unrelated.
Uh-huh.
Are you doing Facebook live workout tomorrow?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so those of us who are on winter break can join you. A few of us here. Which is it going to be? Do you know?
Well, I'm trying
Is
to
it
go
going to be
through all,
weights?
yeah, I'm trying to go through all of the workouts. So technically it's supposed to be empower, or not empower.
Okay, that's good.
No, the yoga one, but I can't do that yet with my arm. So I'm going to do empower.
Okay, thanks.
Everyone's favorite, empower. Okay. So I'll see you guys bright and early.
Yep.
All right.
You.
Bye. And then Brenda, text me and we'll talk about the snack thing. Okay.
Sounds good.
Bye guys.